Where did the market transition from high resistance liquidity to low resistance liquidity runs? Let's go back down to 1. You're waiting patiently. You're not retail. You might trade with a retail broker, but under my tutelage, you are not retail minded. You're not. You're not learning to do what retail traders do. You're not falling victim to the things they fall victim to. You're relaxing. You're letting price give it to you on a silver platter right there. What do you see? That fair value gap I mentioned. Right there. That is your silver bullet. Where's the draw on liquidity? This high. But if it's going to go above this high, Michael, where can it go? Well, that's what I have the new week opening gap there for. So what level above this high exists? The initial one right above that high would be what? Consequent encroachment, which is the midpoint between the high of the old new week opening gap and the low of this new week opening gap. So above this high, the level was 4138.75. which is midpoint or 50% on a fib if you drop it down on top of those levels that I did earlier. That gives you the target above buy side. So if you're buying inside the fair value gap here, and we'll just do a worst case scenario, so we'll do like the midpoint. 41.33.5, so 41.33 3/4. There's 5 handles. 41.38 3/4, that's 5 handles. That's the silver bullet. And you don't even need to get to the high of the new week opening gap. And you don't get all this fluffy cream on top if you left a runner. So, while all this choppiness was going on, for your notes, this is called time distortion. Okay, all these candles is bouncing around in that little range like that. That's time distortion. The way you clean all that up, and how I use time-based charts, and how the algorithm itself will refer to time. And so go back inside this range. What range? This high to that low. Why am I picking that high? It's an up-close candle. Why am I not picking that one? That's an up-close candle because this candle's high is higher than that one. It's also having a candle that's lower in its high to the left of it. So this makes this what? A swing high. So that high down to this bullish breaker, that passed through one time, that is your dealing range. Okay, this is your dealing range. So there's your dealing range right there. Right inside that little, let's lighten that up a little too bold. Okay, so there's your dealing range. Inside that dealing range, I don't care how much time it spends inside of it. I don't care. I'm waiting for something to occur. What was that? Everything I outlined this morning. Does it support price going higher at the breaker? Yes. It goes back down one more time. Does it go outside that range? No. So the dealing range is not disrupted. It only went down there one more time. But inside that range, with all these candles, I am not worrying about this. Okay, I'm not impatient. You heard me. I'm waiting for what? I'm waiting for the movement above that fair value gap. Inside of this dealing range. So here's your dealing range. So inside of this high and inside of this low, I'm not concerned of how many candles it makes going sideways until we get above. When we get above, take out these highs here. What is that technically becoming? A shift in market structure. So in between 10 o'clock and 11, we're talking about 60 minutes, folks. 60 minutes. You got a job? I know, it sucks. Be thankful that you have it. You're running a business that's time consuming and distracting. I understand, but be thankful that you have it. You sleep during this time, ICT. I can't wake up. Use an alarm clock. Because you're going to have to make some kind of sacrifice, folks. Somewhere in your life, you're going to have to give up something to the market. It's a cruel lover, and it demands all of your attention. It demands all of your energy. And if you let it take all of it from you, it'll be a vampire and suck everything out of you. Life, time, hope. And you'll fall in love with it more than your family, like it did with me. This removes that. It's very specific, time-based. Silver bullet. You want a one-shot, one-kill, silver bullet idea. Give it to me, ICT. Well, here it is. Repeats, 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 repeats. But how does it work? You have to understand the narrative. Why ain't this a fair value gap? Because the narrative was we had to go above that older fair value gap here and trade above, which cancels out the premium idea on a short basis. Because if it can trade through that, what is it doing? It's disregarding. It's disrespecting what would otherwise be a selling area. And how many times did we trade up into that? Multiple times. So it's warning it out. It's telegraphing it to you that this is not an area to go short on. So what are we looking for? A run above here and above that fair value gap. Then rally between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. When? For narrative. When does this form? Between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. It can't be this as a fair value gap because it's below what we were requiring to be broken to the upside. So we can't look at that as a fair value gap. That's not even a fair value gap. It's a balanced price range. We have a fair value gap here, and we have one here. This is all balanced. So there's no need for it to go back down there. See, that's the part you don't know. Fair value gap, silver bullet. The difference between it, if it would have been an immediate rebalance, there probably wouldn't have been a silver bullet trade for this indice, and then we would have been rocketing higher to 4180. But because we had a fair value gap form traditionally, then it's just retrade down to it perfectly to this candle's high, to the tick, here, here, and off to the races it goes. So narrative is the most important thing, not market structure.